Okay, just we have opened PyCharm from the Start menu. But here, how do you create your first application or first program in Python language? In PyCharm, you require to create a new project. In that project, we have to create a file in which you can write your Python program. So let's get started. Now, try to click on New Project. And in this dialog box, we have to provide the path and name of the project. By default, it contains the path like users, the username, for example Harsha, and then PyCharm projects, and then the actual project name, which is also the folder name. So in case if you confirm the same, with this particular name, you will get a folder at that specified path. But for simplicity, we are trying to place our project in a different folder. That is, for example, I am trying to click on this folder icon at the right hand side. So in this browse dialog box, especially I am trying to locate C:, and in this C:, I am trying to create a new folder. For example, the folder name is Python. So we have a folder called Python at C:, and I am trying to select the same, and then OK. So we are trying to place all of our Python projects in this particular location called C:, Python. At your practice time, based on your comfort, you can use C drive, D drive, or any other drives. It doesn't matter. It is not necessary to keep the Python programs in this particular folder. Just for our comfort, we are trying to simplify the path. So this is the location where your project is being created. But what is the actual project name? So in C:, Python, I would like to create a new project called Hello World. So this last name will be the actual project name, which is also the folder name. And it is being placed at the folder called C:, Python. If required, you can open up the same path later. Alright. So we are trying to create a new environment that is called virtual environment for this particular folder. So what is the difference between the new environment and existing environment? In case of new environment, any packages that you install from the store will be installed at this particular location so that it doesn't affect other projects. But in case if you choose existing interpreter, any packages that you install will affect all remaining packages on the same machine. So it is not safe. So it is recommended to use the new environment itself, which is the default option itself. And in this case, you don't require this main.py file, which is the welcome script. We are trying to create our own script ourselves. So we have mentioned the folder name as C:, Python, and then our folder name or project name, that is Hello World. In place of Hello World, you can give any other project name. And then new environment, and then uncheck the checkbox called create a main.py. So click on create button. With that specified settings, the new project will be created like this. And every time when you open this PyCharm, it keeps showing the tips like this. In case if you are not interested in these tips, you can check this checkbox called don't show tips and then click on close. So furthermore, it will not show any kind of tips. Before writing the first program, let's try to perform some tweaks in this code editor. Go to your file menu and then settings. Like this. And in these settings, in the first category called appearance, we have custom font. If required, you can try to change the font. This font gets applied for all the menus and other toolbars. I don't want to change the font as of now. Let it be as it is. but optionally we can change the size. For example, I am trying to choose it like 14. In case if you apply the same, you can notice the font size of the menus and other tools has been changed. It's pretty visible now. And also optionally, you can try to change the editor font. So go to the editor and then font. Here we are able to change the font size. For example, I am trying to choose something like 22. Optionally, you can change the font as well as per your requirement. This font gets applied for your program, that means for the code editor. For example, I am trying to select Copper Hewitt and then try to click on OK. And then after that, minimize this virtual environment folder, but don't delete the same because the Python interpreter is present in that particular folder only. So every time when you run the program, the Python interpreter will be invoked from this folder only. So just minimize and keep it. Now you can try to create a new Python file. So right click on the project called Hello World and then say New Python file. You can give any other file name here. For example, I am trying to give like main. Generally, the first file of the project will be given as main, otherwise app. Now press Enter key to confirm the same. So as you can notice, we have a main.py file, that is main.py. So it is the convention that you must use the file extension called .py for all the Python files. You can pronounce the same as main.py. So in this particular file, you can write your actual code. For example, I am trying to write a simple program like print hello world. Okay, we have just increased the size. Now, if you can notice, this print is the predefined function which prints our value in the console, that means in the output. So basically, what is the meaning of a function? In programming languages, a function is the predefined set of instructions or statements which receives some value from you and do some operation based on that. For example, there is a function called len which will receive a string value from you and calculates the number of characters in that. And then it returns the appropriate result value based on the given input. Like this, a function is always intended to perform some operation based on the given value. Like that, print is the predefined function, or also called as built-in function, which means the definition of the print function is already inbuilt in the programming language itself. Like that, we have plenty of predefined functions in Python so that you can perform most of the common activities in the language itself. But here the question is, can we create our own functions? Yes, we can create our own functions also, and we will try to learn the predefined functions as well as user-defined functions in further lectures, so don't get confused as of now. So overall, this print is the predefined function, and we are calling that predefined function from this statement. So that whenever you call the function, the execution sequence goes to the function definition and executes all that predefined or built-in statements and comes back to the same place where originally you called the function. While calling the function, you are trying to supply an argument value, that is hello world. Since it is the name, we have to keep it in quotes. It can be either single quotes or double quotes. In Python, there is no difference between single quotes and double quotes. You can use any of them interchangeably. Anyways, so the intention of this particular code is to print a message called Hello World in the output window. But here the question is, how can you run the program? If you can notice the top right corner of the window, it shows an option called Add Configuration. You need not manually add the configuration here. The easiest way to run the program is right-click anywhere in the code window like this and choose the option called Run and then Main, which means you require to run that program called main.py. The keyboard shortcut for the same is Ctrl-Shift-F10. So let's run this. So automatically the output window gets opened, and in this you can see the actual output for that program, that is Hello World. At the above, you can see the path of the file. So at this particular path, we have the Python interpreter, which is our python.exe file. So by using that Python interpreter called python.exe, we are able to run any Python program. In this case, which file we are going to run? That is c:/python hello world /main.py. That is the path of the file. And once the program execution starts, always the program executes from the top to bottom. That means at first it will go to the first line of the program, and after completion of that first line, it goes to the second line and then third line and so on. Like this, the Python interpreter executes each and every line of the program from top to bottom. After completion of the last statement of the program, that is treated as end of the program. And what about this process finished with exit code? Which means that it has completed the execution of the program and then it provides the message called process finished. What is the significance of this exit code? It can be either 0 or 1. Whereas the 0 exit code indicates the program executes successfully without errors. But of course, whenever the Python interpreter encounters some error while executing our program, then the exit code will be 1. That means it has found some errors. So in short, 0 indicates success, 1 indicates errors. And I can tell you one more tweaks in this code editor. So basically in this run window, go to the top right corner of your run window and find out this settings button and then click on move to right bottom, which means the output window will be arranged towards the right so that you can see multiple lines in the output window. And then optionally, you can hide this project window by clicking on this project button. Anytime if you want to work with the files like renaming, adding or deleting the files, you can click on the same so that you can try to create a new file or rename existing files. As well as you can try to recreate a new file if required. So in most of the cases, you can keep the window like this. At your left window, you can write your actual program. And at your right window, you can see the corresponding output. Anytime when you make any changes in the program, something like this, you can right click on the file and run. Of course, you can use the keyboard shortcut called Ctrl-Shift-F10. So you can see the corresponding change in the output window. And moreover, after your first run of the program like this, you can see the run button has been added here at the top right corner of the window. So you can use that every time after you make changes. For example, I am trying to add one more line of the program, something like print hi. So I want to see the output. You can simply click on the Run button at the top right corner of the window. So it runs the same. And moreover, I can tell you one more useful window here. That is the most bottom icon called Problems. So once you click on the same, it automatically opens up the Problems window, which shows all kind of errors or problems or issues that exist in the current program. As of now, it is showing one problem saying that no new line at the end of the file. This is not probably an error, but it is just a problem, or you can consider the same as a small warning, which means that it is optional to fix that particular type of errors, because it is in color of gray. But in case if there are any errors in the program, it will be shown as red color. For example, I am trying to make the changes here, probably some typo here. So instead of print, I missed n. In this case, of course, you can see a red color underline on the same, which immediately indicates that it is error. And the same is being shown here in detailed, that is, unresolved reference called PRIT. That means instead of print, we are writing PRIT. So if it is in gray color, it is optional to fix. It is a small warning. But in case if it is in red color, it must be fixed. Otherwise, you cannot run that program. So let me fix the same again. So immediately you can see that error has been cleared out. But how can you fix this new line error? It is quite simple. The PyCharm recommends you that it is better to keep an empty line at the end of the program, like this. See an empty line here? It is just a recommendation, but not compulsory. Like this, you can find all of the errors, mistakes, typos, or errors in this particular problems window. So always you can keep the IDE window state like this. At the bottom, you must see the problems window. At the left side, you can see the code window. And then output window is at the right side. Alright, this is how do you create the first application in Python and also how to tweak the PyCharm IDE. Now, you are all set to go with Python, so stay tuned.